Rebel County. Can everybody hear me? I'm going to have to shout. I'm used to having a microphone, but I don't mind shouting because I like the attention, so it should be okay. So let's get here talk. Well, Eve, as Kate said, my name is Ben Scallon. You should, don't tell Galway, by the way, but I actually think that Cork is the prettiest city in the entire country. I love Cork with a passion. It's beautiful. And I'm not just saying that because it was Valentine's Day either. So anyway, I'm just back from the rainforest in Colombia. I spent 2 weeks visiting the native tribes and learning about their culture. And I think what I love about a lot of countries like Colombia, particularly places in South America, is that they have such a family-oriented society. I really think that that's a beautiful thing, and it's something that a lot of the modern world is lacking. It's something that Ireland was known for historically, is having very close familial ties and community relationships, and it's just kind of beautiful. But while I was there, just next door across the border, the Venezuela drama was happening that I'm sure you all know about, which I guess drama might be putting it a little bit mildly. But Venezuela, they're obviously an oil-rich member of OPEC, and they were collapsing under the weight of their bloated socialist government. And they have all of this state debt and government corruption and incompetence and all of these things. And the tentacles of the Socialist Party of Chavez and Maduro had sucked up all the wealth and the power in every area of the people's lives. And so you have this tension between all of these small, hard-working local communities and these demagogues in government who just want to take control of everything. And I thought to myself that this is what happens when a government forgets who their bosses are. This is what happens when a government forgets who put them in that position in the first place. And I was angry, even though it wasn't my country. It just kind of, like, thinking about it the whole time I was there, it got me upset. I was thinking that it's such an injustice and an outrage. And then last week I got back to Ireland, and I was looking around, and I looked to our own government, and I wondered, how different is the situation that we have here? That tension between small communities and families and ordinary decent people and the elites of our society can be seen, maybe not on the same scale, but they're still starting to emerge. And I think that's a very dangerous thing for a society. We have all of these pencil-pushing elitists in Leinster House, or the so-called intellectuals in our universities who think that because they have a fancy degree from Trinity that they know how to run your life better than you do. And I'm a proud individualist. I'm not a collectivist. Ayn Rand said that the smallest and most vulnerable minority of all is the individual. You can't claim to be a defender of minority rights if you don't defend individual rights. That's where everything starts. And I was under the impression, because of that we lived in a free society, where people get to make up their own mind about moral issues. Is this not the constant mantra of the left? Live and let live, don't impose your views on me. And we all agree with that, I'm sure. I certainly agree with that. I wouldn't want to impose my views on anybody. But why do so many of our politicians push that line when it suits them and then turn around and refuse to allow us to express our own moral decisions when we want to? So an example of that would be a report that was just covered there in the Irish Independent at the start of the month that was strongly urging porn literacy to be introduced into sex education in schools, aiming to destigmatize porn to children. And education committees have been saying that children should start to receive sex education from an even younger age already. So both of these things coming in around the same time. Now, I don't know about you, but to me personally, this seems like quite the departure from the original purpose of sex ed. I thought sex ed was supposed to stop teen pregnancies and STIs. That's what it was pitched as. What does teaching children about porn have to do with any of that? But apparently this is something that the government feels that they can just shoehorn in, and we're not supposed to have any kind of say on it. Like all of these programs, from the very beginning, it was a slippery slope designed to dismantle the family-oriented Ireland that we all love and replace it with a postmodern European ideal, just to try and catch up to all of our neighbours and impress them. No one asked us if we want to embrace this world. It was foisted upon us by those in the positions of power that reside in our society. And in the last 30 years, the rate of teen pregnancies has increased 400%, not decreased, and STIs among young adults is rampant. So this experiment has objectively failed our children, and they're still pushing for even more. But not only that, now we find ourselves where our children are having to learn about this unscientific gender ideology as if it was proven fact. 1,000 genders and countless sexualities. You can't even keep track of the acronym anymore, it's so long. It looks like somebody spilled their alphabet soup. People calling for gender-neutral bathrooms to be mandatory, state-subsidised surgeries and hormone therapies. Now in some countries like the UK, just last week, a woman was arrested and detained by the police for 7 hours because she misgendered somebody online. She used the wrong pronoun, and that's actually now a criminal offence in many countries. Canada, I believe, is the same. And this, so now it's a crime to hurt somebody's feelings. This is the world that these people want to create. And when you look at all of this, you just have to say, like, maybe I'm crazy, but I don't think that people send their children to school to learn about thousands of genders or pornography or any of that. I'm pretty sure people send their children to school to learn how to read and write and to learn how to do maths and other basic essentials that you need for life. I don't know where these people get off thinking that any of this is appropriate for a school setting. I think that this is... I mean, if Simon Harris wants to teach his children that, then that's between himself and his wife. But this cultural Marxist nanny state that they're attempting to create is a slap in the face to Article 42 of the Irish Constitution, which specifically grants parents their rights to determine how they want to raise their own children. And maybe you're a religious person. You know, you could be a Muslim or a Catholic or a Protestant or an Orthodox Jewish person, because 90% of the country still identifies as religious, despite what the media might like to have you believe. And maybe you say, I'm fine with these things being taught, Ben. I don't have a problem with it if somebody else wants to teach their kids that. But this goes against my deeply held personal beliefs. Where do I fit into all of this? Well, an Oireachtas report has just recently said that religious schools cannot use their ethos as an excuse to avoid any of this education. The government are trying to make it compulsory by the end of 2019, regardless of your personal moral beliefs. So they will happily go over your head and teach your children whatever they want, regardless of your religious or moral scruples. And ladies and gentlemen, if that is not tyranny, then frankly, I don't know what is. That is absolutely appalling. Is that not appalling? And what of the HSE? Surely you have rights over your children's health. I mean, they're not going to go that far. Well, just the other month they announced that girls aged 15 and under, even younger than 15, will be able to get an abortion without the consent of their parents under the new ruling. Your own 15-year-old daughter will be able to get an abortion, and you will have no legal say in the matter whatsoever. And one senior clinician said after hearing this, no doctor in his right mind would undertake a termination in these circumstances without getting a legal ruling. There has been no significant discussion on these issues. None at all. It was fast-tracked right through by people like Simon Harris and the people in our government at the moment. So what a wonderful health service we have now, where there are women dying of preventable cervical cancer in their droves. We have tens of thousands of people on trolleys in our hospitals every single month. And this is what they're wasting their time and taxpayer money on, our money that we give to them, making sure that children can get abortions without their parents' consent and without their parents being able to stop them or have any say in the matter. And this is the state of our society at the moment. At least a third of the population is pro-life, and apparently none of those people have any. They don't matter to the people who currently run our country. So I'm starting to notice a pattern here. I don't know about you. One starts to wonder who owns these children. Is it the parents or the state? Because I really can't tell anymore. This is not a debate about porn or gender-neutral bathrooms or any of that nonsense. This is about the rights of Irish men and Irish women to determine their children's future. And there is nothing more important than that.
Hear, hear.
Do we want to live in a society where a panel of corrupt ideologues are paid to brainwash our children, or should little Irish boys and girls be raised by their parents who love them? No government has ever brought a single child into the world. They weren't there in the hospital when you were first born. Your mum and your dad were. A government official didn't help you to take your first steps or dry your tears when you fell and scraped your knee. They didn't tell you bedtime stories when you were too scared to sleep. Only a mother or a father can do those things. They gave you the gift of life itself. No state or education board will ever replace that. We love Ireland's families and little villages because to us, even when Ireland was small, it was never small-hearted. And even when it was a backwater, it was never backward. And like the people of Colombia and Venezuela, we were rich in every way that really matters. So I tell these people that we need to tell them where to get off. From Leinster House to Brussels to every tier of this government bureaucracy that's trying to oppress us, and let the people run their lives again as they see fit. I am a young man, I don't have children myself, but I might one day. And for those kids, I dream of an Ireland that cherishes all the children of the nation equally. And because of that dream, we will personally fight tooth and nail for every one of those little Irish children yet to come. God bless Cork, God bless Ireland, and God bless the Irish people. There we go.